In this video, I'm going to be going over my entire entrepreneurship journey. I'm going to be going from when I was making $0 at 17 years old to now being 19 years old and making over 6 figures per month. Alright, what is going on, guys? Kasra here with you guys with a brand new video, and in today's video I'll be going over my entire entrepreneurship journey. And I don't want you guys to take this video in the wrong way. I'm not making this as like a flex or anything, and I'm being serious. I'm just making it so you guys can understand my story, because I'm getting the same question through my Instagram DMs, through my TikTok, through everything. So I want you guys to know what my story was, how I came up, and hopefully, like it did for me when I was starting out, watching these sorts of videos kind of motivated me. So I hope it does motivate you guys in some sort of way. Because when I started, I didn't have a teacher, I didn't have a coach, I didn't have a course or anything like that. So watching these types of videos on YouTube, and you guys will see it when I get into the story, because I was watching these types of videos, they did help and motivate me. So that's kind of what I want this to do. And throughout this video, I'm gonna be putting up screenshots from my phone of like my Snapchat memories from the times that all this stuff was happening, so you guys can kind of see some proof of what I'm actually talking about. I'm not gonna go through the entire story of my my whole life. I'm just gonna go through my entrepreneurship journey, but I will start from some of the big stuff that happened throughout my life. I'm gonna get right into the video. Hope you guys do enjoy. I was born in 2000 in Sacramento, California. It's the capital of California, and I was born with a twin sister, so she is my twin. We're the same age. But yeah, we were born in 2000 in Sacramento. From a young age, we were always together, from school to even soccer at some point. But at the age of, I'd say about like 12, when I moved from the public school system to the private school system, that's kind of when my life changed a little bit. I got more into video games. I got more kind of like into my own little corner. I kind of felt like, I don't know, I didn't fit in, but at the same time I did. So I was just kind of doing my own thing throughout the whole middle school experience. Age of about 13, 14, I started getting into online gaming, and this is kind of where my life took a change. I started, instead of going out and playing soccer every day after school, going to practice, going to games with my team, I started actually focusing into gaming more. Beginning gaming was fun. Gaming was really just fun for me. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about a team. It wasn't about anything. I was just gaming for fun with my friends. From there, it kind of turned into something a little bit more. I started actually creating videos on YouTube. So if you guys go back to my channel, I think the video's on private actually, but I'll put like a little snippet of it right here.
What is going on, guys? It is Tekka Overkill or Kasra here today.
I was doing video game commentaries, kind of like the Optic people in FaZe back in the day, because those were my idols back then. I was watching all those people, trying to beat them. So I started doing that. I started making YouTube videos, and then I realized, I wasn't actually good at the game. So I stopped playing the game, and I started to actually manage other players. There was like trick shotters, and then there was actual competitive players. So I was just managing all these people under one team, and eventually it turned into an actual esports team. And this was my first esports kind of business venture. This was my first business venture. At the time, I didn't really take it as a business. As I said, I was just having fun still. So I was actually, having people come to us and give us deals and stuff. And I was 15, 16. I had no idea what was going on. So I was like, I don't know. But we were creating YouTube videos. We actually acquired a Call of Duty professional team. And they weren't a professional team. They were like, under the professional team. I don't really know what the rankings are. But we acquired that Call of Duty team, and they actually went to a tournament. And if I can find a clip, I'll put it on the screen right now. But they went to a tournament, and then after that, stuff kind of started to pick up a little bit. And this is the point where I sold the team. I didn't actually continue it at all. And if I didn't mention this, the team was called Ruby Division, and then we eventually switched it to like Ruby Esports. But I sold the channel, I sold the rights to the team, whatever was at the time. But I sold that, and I kind of got away from video games for a while. I think it was just kind of like my phase. Video games was a phase. So I kind of switched away from video games, and I started doing photography and videography for artists and sort of people on tour. I love that a lot. I had a camera. It wasn't even my camera. It was my sister's camera. It was like a $400 DSLR, and I was putting it on like this stabilizer made out of PVC pipes, and I spray painted it black. I had no money, but I really loved filming at the time. I would do anything. I would go and film cars. I would go film people. But what I really liked to do, as I said, was those concerts. And eventually I worked my way around the city that I was in, and I eventually got into my first show, which was a Playboi Carti concert, and that kind of took off the first steps of filming. And then from there I started uploading more on YouTube, and I eventually, at the end of 2017, right when I started dropshipping, I got a pretty good offer to go ahead and film for a local music label. And eventually they just gave me a camera. It was a really nice camera too. It was like a mirrorless Sony camera. It was like an A7S R2. I don't really remember what it exactly was, but yeah, they gave me a camera. I started filming for them, and then right then is when I started dropshipping. I found out about dropshipping through a friend that I knew for a couple of years. He actually did Amazon FBA at the time, and he was telling me all about dropshipping, when I was filming for this label, and he was saying like, oh, you can do selling stuff online, on Amazon, on Shopify, you can make so much money. I'm making money from it. You should totally go ahead and try it out, because you said you were looking for a way to make money. Because at the time, I was filming for that music label for essentially free. They were just giving me the camera to use for my own content, and obviously I would film their content for free since they bought me the camera. So at this time, I'm talking to him. I'm like, yo, like, how do I actually get into dropshipping? Like, I want to start. And he told me to go on YouTube and just look it up. So I started to go ahead. I looked it up, and I was blown away. There was people making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and money didn't mean anything to me at this point, right? I just wanted to be able to do what I wanted, right? That was the whole reason I was chasing the money. I didn't want to, go into school every day and listen to teachers and go to class and stuff like that, because at this point I realized that I didn't want to do that, right? I had gone through like 3 midlife crises at 17, and I just realized that I didn't want to do that. So the first thing I knew was I needed money, because I can't rely on a college degree because I don't want to go to school. So I need to figure out a way to make sustainable money. So I decided to take his word on dropshipping, and immediately that night I went onto YouTube and I started looking up what is dropshipping. So I was watching videos for, I believe, about a week and a half, and like maybe even 2 weeks, but I was scared. Honestly, I was scared. I'm not gonna say I wasn't scared. I was scared. I didn't want to lose any of my money that I worked so hard for, from reselling Supreme, mowing people's lawns, or going to concerts and filming people at it. I didn't want to lose any of that money. So I was really, really frugal in the beginning. In the middle of December 2017, I opened up my first dropshipping store with my business partner, Jack. He actually lives with me now. We met over Xbox like 4 or 5 years ago, which is crazy. But we opened up our first dropshipping store in December of 2017, towards the end of it. And as I said, it was a Christmas pillow store called xmasspillows.com, and we promoted it through Instagram influencers. At the time, we didn't know this, but the shipping times from AliExpress are usually almost a month, and we were selling these Christmas pillows like 5-6 days before Christmas. So once it came time to go in and fulfill the orders on Oberlo, I was reading the little text. It said shipping takes 2 to 4 weeks, and I was like, huh. So they're not getting the products. So, I got, my first lesson automatically. First store, you have to, accommodate for shipping times when you're doing holiday and seasonal stuff. So I had to refund all the orders, and that was my first store. After that, we started to look into other niches for drop shipping. For example, the technology niche, because we saw that at the time the new iPhone had came out, the one without the headphone jack on the bottom. And I saw that people were selling these iPhone splitters, and the iPhone splitters were doing super good. So I said, okay, screw it. We already have the connections to the meme page. Let's go all in, put a couple $100s down, and open up a technology niche store. That is exactly what we did. The store was called Zap Technology, and I can never forget that store, because that was honestly the thing that took me from not doing dropshipping to pretty much going full course into it, full force, every day sitting down trying to learn the whole thing. So I have a screenshot right here. I'm going to put it up on the screen right now, but it was from January 3rd to January 4th. We did $510 in essentially, that period of time, which was crazy, because at the time, as I said, like, we pretty much had made no money. We were in the negative. So we go on, we make an Instagram meme page post on, a shout out, and we just make $510. That kind of changed me. I saw that money coming in, and even though most of it was not profit, obviously, but I just saw it coming in, and I was like, okay, this is it. We have to go hard now. And I was still 17 at this time, so I wasn't actually allowed to even have a Shopify store. I'll even put up a screenshot if I can find it. I really hope I can, of this piece of paper that Shopify made me sign, saying that my dad was the owner of the store and he was the operator of it, or something like that. But I had so many struggles at the beginning just because I wasn't even 18 years old. It's pretty interesting, all the stuff we had to go through just to get where we're at. From that success in January all the way up until June, so 6 months in between there, that was my grind time. That was the time that I was launching stores, I was closing stores, I was trying to do so many different things, because I saw that dropshipping worked, and I knew it worked, and I just had to, test more. I understood that really in the beginning, because I saw that the first store didn't do so well because of a mistake we made, right? The product was good, but the mistake was there. And then the second store, same situation. So I wanted to keep going. I knew what I had to do now, and I just went. About 7 months later, I started to gain a little bit more traction. I started to actually get more money. I was probably getting like $2,000-3,000 every week. And I was just excited. I didn't even know what to do. And that $2,000-3,000 was in revenue. It wasn't in profit, but at that time it was a lot, because as I said, like we were just a failure. And then finally I was trying to get some consistency throughout the stores that I had launched, and honestly, it was the best feeling in the world. So August 2018, kind of the end of the summer, I was going into my freshman year of college. I started to see a little bit more consistency, definitely. But then I got hit with a pretty big reserve on one of my big stores, which, as I went over in one of the last videos, I think it was the TikTok video, which is called Less Bracelets. We went into I think it was like a 25-30% hold on all of our reserves that we were getting from the traffic being driven to the website. So all the money that was coming in, 30% of it was being held by Shopify. As you guys can see on the screen, I probably put up like a Snapchat of me like flipping off the screen or something like that. But again, persevered, opened up new accounts, did whatever we did back then. And that was the first month that I kind of changed my whole perspective on life. Because up until this point, I was bred to think that school was the only way you could succeed in life. If you don't have a college degree, you're not going to make money, you're not going to be respected, and you're going to pretty much become homeless. That is how I was taught, and that's just how this, the setting that I was raised in. So up until August of 2018, my mind was, okay, even if I make $1 million a month with this business, I'm still going to be going to school because I need a college degree because no one's going to hire me. I can't survive on my own. August of 2018 kind of switched my mindset. I was really into school at the time, and after that, I was still into school. I'm not going to lie, I was, because I thought that it was the only way to succeed. I didn't know that you can make money by yourself. So in August of 2018, my life kind of switched up. I went to LA for the first time with my family. And when I went there, I saw that people were buying stuff, expensive clothes, driving nice cars. And this really drove me to make more money because I wanted those nice things. So the next couple of days when I went home, I went super hard. I actually started to do product research for like 6-10 hours a day, trying to find products one day out of the week and test them the rest of the days of the week. I pretty much took all the money I had and threw it into dropshipping at this point. This is also when I actually met one of my good roommates right now, Gage. I met him through his Telegram chat, I believe, because I was trying to find a way to, find more products or something like that. I don't really know how we met, but I met him at this time as well. And actually, this is pretty cool. If you guys look at the screenshot on the screen right now, I was watching a YouTuber on, in August of 2018, I believe. So on August 28th, if you guys can see on the screen, the screenshot, I was actually watching another dropshipping YouTuber at the time, and he was talking about in this video about, how you can actually, you don't need college, right? You don't need college to survive, and you just have to have some sort of income coming in, some sort of revenue coming in every month. That is residual that you can live off of, essentially. So I was hearing this driving to college, and I was like, wow, what am I doing here? I don't like school. I like to make money. I want to be my own boss. So my mindset changed here. It completely changed. I didn't even want to go to school anymore. I obviously had to because I was living with my parents, but I didn't want to go anymore. I wanted to just make money and do what I do. And that drive alone changed me. That drive alone really made me sit down and realize, where I'm at, right? Where am I in my life, where I want to go. And this is honestly when I changed, and I honestly, I don't even know where I would be right now if that didn't happen, right? I don't even know, if I never saw that video from him, and thank God he made that video, and that's honestly why I make these videos, guys, because I feel like if you guys are watching this right now, maybe some of you were like me back in August 28th of 2018. You don't know where you're at, but you see this video and it changed your life. And again, I just hope that's how you guys take this video. But at that time, I saw that video and my life completely changed. I started to get into dropshipping a lot more. I started to look at other stores, look at other strategies, and just see how people were promoting stuff to try to make my stuff better. Because at the time, I wasn't too familiar with dropshipping. I started to diversify my traffic a lot. I started to actually try out Reddit advertising, which at the time, I was one of the first advertisers on that platform, as you guys can see in the screenshot. I was trying to do everything I could to get out, essentially. Lo and behold, on September 28th of 2018, I launched my first successful store, and honestly, it felt so good. I had made like $567 right when I woke up, and honestly, that was crazy. I remember I went out that day to dinner. I was buying everybody's stuff. I was so happy because I made so much money and all the hard work finally paid off. So that store took off. Essentially every morning I would wake up, I would take like a Snapchat. I was so corny back then. But I made like another $430 the next day and the next day and the next day. So I was starting to make a good amount of money from this store. The store was actually a Halloween based store. So I was really utilizing the holiday season at the time. And so the Halloween store did like 2K in one day, which was insane. Again, at the time, I never even thought that that was possible. I didn't even know what $2,000 looked like at this time. And at this point is when I really started to get annoyed with school because I was trying to scale the store essentially, right? Past 2K a day, but I had so much homework. I had so much obligations to my college classes that I couldn't sit down all day like I wanted to. I couldn't do everything that I wanted to anymore to scale the store because I was, college was literally holding me down. Anyways, at that point, I was pissed at college. I didn't want to go, but I was still going half the time I wasn't going. But it all paid off. After September, after October came November, and in November, my biggest store was launched. I figured out the formula in November, and I was doing insane amounts of money every day. Not in November specifically, but after November, once I figured out the process and how to actually duplicate what I was doing, I went ahead and I had my biggest store. Now, the reason that this store did so well was simply because it was being driven, or the traffic being driven to the store was from a completely different platform than anybody was using at the time, which was YouTube influencer marketing. I had essentially controlled the entire niche that I was selling in. I had influencers under contracts. I had people literally DMing me or emailing me, trying to get me to sponsor them because I was sponsoring literally everybody in that space. So people were eventually coming to me to have me sponsor them instead of me going to them and having me sponsor them. So at this time, I had my first successful store, and I was just psyched. I was excited beyond my mind. I was literally trying to do everything I could to optimize the store, make it look better, try to create a new advertisement. Like, I was doing everything. And that's when I had my first 5-figure month. So from December 5th to January 6th, I made like 27K. I'll put a screenshot on the screen as well. But after this, in January, when the new year came, I was going so hard with this store that literally I was spending 18 hours a day on the computer working. And it started to pay off. I started to see a lot more consistency. And eventually I hit my first biggest day on, Shopify as a whole, or with drop shipping. And it was $10,750 I generated in one day with this one store. At this point, I started to get, a little bit more into the money thing. I completely dropped off college at this point. I hadn't officially dropped out, but, I had stopped going for sure. And at this point, I was starting to pull out, $10,000 a day from the bank just to hold the money in my hands. It was just super fun. And it was, I never seen that much money, and I was just a kid, like, excited, honestly. I had so much money in my hands. So at the end of January, I went to LA with my longtime business partner of 4 years, Jack, who I actually live with right now. We met for the first time. We had only talked online for 4 years. So we met the first time in LA at the end of January of 2019. It was insane. I talked to this kid for so long on, Skype and stuff, but I never see him in real life. And we had made all this money together. So it was super cool meeting him. Yeah, honestly, at this point, my life completely changed. I saw that people were, especially people who were doing the same thing as me, they were living on their own out there in LA. They were traveling the world. They were buying all this nice stuff just from their business income. As you guys can see on this snap right here, it was my flight back from my first trip to LA. I put like a little sad face because I was sad I had to go back, but I knew what I had to do at this point. I knew I had to double down. I knew I had to focus on what was working and expand what I was already doing that was working. About like a week and a half later, I just went back to LA. So I essentially did the same exact thing as I did the first time, except this time I went and got a nicer house in the Hollywood Hills. It was like $2,000 or $3,000 for the whole entire like 2 or 3 days that we were there, but it was an amazing experience. So I went back home after this trip, and I was super focused on business at this point, as I said, and I completely disregarded college, right? I didn't want to go anymore, and I was just done, right? I figured out that people, you don't need to have a college degree to survive in the world. In fact, you don't need any sort of education to make a living for yourself at all. So pretty much another week and a half goes by, and I decide I want to go back to Los Angeles again, this time with a different group of people. And this was the trip that changed my life because I was making a lot of money at this point. I was spending more, I was making more. So I had a bunch of fun there. But the monumental thing that happened on this trip to LA was that I actually dropped out of college while I was in LA. So I went ahead and I called up the school and I said, hey, look, I'm not going to be coming back. I just want you to I want to let you guys know so I can get the paperwork ready. So when I actually fly back from LA, I'm going to go straight there and sign everything off so I can actually, not be enrolled here anymore. I also called my parents, told them everything, and they understood completely. I explained to them, like, look, I do not want to go to school anymore. It is wasting my time. It is taking time away from my business, the thing that I want to be focused on right now to, first of all, make money and take me to my next level, right? Because school was not something that I wanted to do. It had no beneficial, options for me. It did not give me anything more than just waste my time because I was going for a business major. I was a business major. I was getting a business marketing degree, and I did not need that. I did not need a business marketing degree because I did not plan on working for somebody else. I planned on working for myself. So I wanted to build more income flows at this time. I decided to take on social media marketing. I bought Iman Gaji's social media marketing course for like $1,000 or $2,000 at the time. I bought the course and I actually got a couple of appointments and I started getting my first couple of clients. Super cool. I got a couple clients, but it never really lasted that long. Now, obviously, my marketing agency is completely past that point. We have our clients doing 400, 500, 700K, in like a month or two, which is crazy. So, that was the beginning of that. But after that point, we're going back to LA for that third time, dropping out of college. And at this point, I believe we're in March, the first week of March. So first week of March, we went back, dropped out, came back home. Obviously went to the college and signed the papers. And on this trip, I made a decision. I decided that I did not want to just drop out and stay in my own town, because at that point, I was so focused on making money. I was so focused on making this dream of mine work that I didn't want to be the same person. I really wanted this to work out. My business partner, Jack, at the time decided to actually go from here in California, and he was in Colorado, but we decided to go from where we're at for our entire lives and actually move across the country to Pennsylvania. We had a business relationship with a person there at that time, and we decided to move into a condo with them. And honestly, it was a great experience. I'm not gonna lie. It was amazing. I had never lived away by myself for 3-4 months at a time. I had so much freedom for the first time in my life. I had so much money to spend. The idea of us going there, though, was that we were, again, removing ourselves from our comfortable environments, forcing ourselves to work in a town that, had a population of like 1,000 people, right? It was a rural, town. It was in the middle of essentially nowhere, the middle of Pennsylvania. There was no Los Angeles. There was no parties or, friends and stuff like that to get us distracted. We wanted to focus in on our work, and that is why we went there. So we were there from, I believe, March until the beginning of June. I was getting really into the YouTube advertising scene. I was getting like 700 to like 1,000 visitors on my site every time that I launched an ad, because as I said, I had the biggest channels on lock, so I was getting all the traffic from them, waking up to a couple $1,000s every day, which was amazing. And from that period of, I believe, April to June. So from that period of April 20th, when I launched that store, up until June 20th, I made about $140,000 on that store in revenue, and profit was about like 35%, which was amazing for me at the time. That was my second biggest store. I had figured out everything that was wrong with the first one, and I made it better in this one. So I made a bunch of more money. But at the end of July, the beginning of August, Shopify actually closed down all 14 of my stores. And at this time, I was honestly a mess, because I had 14 stores that were bringing me in all this money one day, and then the next day they're all gone. And the worst part about it was that I didn't actually know why it happened. They didn't tell me why it happened, and they wouldn't actually even let me get into the stores to fulfill all the orders for the stores that, or for the orders that weren't fulfilled, and they wouldn't even let me refund the customers. So I had to take on almost 300 or 400 chargebacks, and honestly, it was hefty. Because the product I was selling at the time, the main product was about $250, and then I had another product that was about $800. So I got hit hefty with the chargeback. Decided that I was not gonna let this, stop me. I was not gonna let it, stop me from making money, from living my own life. So I decided to actually, open all my stores on WooCommerce. Enough of that story. At this time as well, I actually decided to come here to San Diego and live with a couple of people who, are dropshipping and e-commerce and doing all that sort of stuff like I do. So we moved into a house here, 6,000 square foot house in San Diego, California. And that's currently where I am right now. So I hope you did enjoy. And as I said earlier, and somewhere in the middle of this video, I hope it does come off the right way, which is that I'm trying to motivate you guys. I'm trying to give you guys, what I wanted, or what I was, desiring to have when I was struggling and coming up. And, seeing these types of videos back then helped me a lot. So I hope it helps you guys too. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and drop a like on it down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. And yep, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.